Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Zainab. Zainab was the kind of person people trusted easily. Not because she talked too much, but because she listened. She noticed small things. She remembered birthdays. She said thank you for little help. When she loved with her whole heart. And when she smiled, it felt real, not forced. Zainab was also the kind of woman who believed in doing things the right way. She believed in honesty. She believed in patience. She believed that if two people promised each other something, that promise meant everything. That was why she was getting married. Her wedding was only 3 days away. The man she was going to marry was named Kunle. Zainab had known Kunle for 4 years. They met through a friend, talked for months, argued sometimes, laughed a lot, and slowly built a life together. Kunle was charming. He spoke well. He always knew what to say when Zainab felt low. At least, that was how Zainab saw him. On that morning, Zainab stood in front of her mirror, tying her scarf carefully. Her phone was pressed between her ear and shoulder. "Zainab, are you listening to me at all?" a voice said on the phone. She smiled. "I am listening, Sade. You are just talking too fast." Sade laughed loudly. "Can you blame me? My best friend is getting married. I am the maid of honor. Everything must be perfect." Zainab chuckled softly. Sade had always been like this. Loud, bold, full of energy. They had grown up together. They shared secrets. They shared clothes. They shared dreams. If Zainab trusted anyone in this world after her mother, it was Sade. "Did you confirm the caterer?" Said asked. "Yes," Zainab replied. "They called me this morning. And the dress fitting, tomorrow afternoon." Sade sighed in relief. "Good, because if anything goes wrong, I will cry before you do." Zainab laughed. "You always cry first." They talked for a while longer, discussing flowers, chairs, music, and guests. When the call ended, Zainab placed her phone down and took a deep breath. Her room was quiet, too quiet. Usually, at this time of the day, Kunle would call her. He would ask what she was doing. He would tease her about being stressed. He would say things like, "Soon, you won't have peace again. I will disturb you every day." But Kunle had not called. Zainab checked the time. It was almost noon. She picked up her phone and sent him a message. "Good morning. Are you awake?" The reply came a few minutes later. "Yes. Just resting." Zainab frowned slightly. Resting. That word again. 2 days earlier, Kunle had told her something that still did not sit well with her heart. "I think I should stay in a hotel till the wedding," Kunle had said over the phone. Zainab had paused. "A hotel? Why? I just need space," he replied. "You know how stressed things are. Work, wedding plans, family pressure. I need quiet to think." Zainab did not like the idea, but she did not want to seem controlling. "If that will help you relax," she had said carefully, "then it's fine." "Thank you for understanding," Kunle replied quickly. "You are the best." That was Kunle's favorite line. "You are the best." Now, as Zainab sat on her bed, she wondered why his messages felt shorter these days, why his calls were fewer, why he sounded distant, even when he said he was fine. She shook her head gently. "You are just nervous," she told herself. Everyone is nervous before a wedding. She stood up and walked into the kitchen. She poured herself a glass of water and drank slowly. As she placed the cup down, an idea came into her head. A simple idea. A happy idea. "What if I surprise him?" she whispered. Zainab smiled for the first time that day. She imagined Kunle's face when he saw her at the hotel. The way he would laugh. The way he would hug her and say she was too much. She imagined spending the evening together, talking, eating, calming each other down. Yes, that was perfect. She rushed back into her room and picked up her phone. "What is Kunle's hotel name again?" she asked Sade in a message. Sade replied almost immediately. "Grand Royal Suites." "Why?" Zainab typed back. "Nothing. Just asking." Said sent a laughing emoji and replied, "You want to spy on your husband-to-be." Zainab smiled and typed, "Something like that." She did not say more. Zainab went to the kitchen and began to cook. She made Kunle's favorite food, Simple food. Food that reminded him of home. As the pot boiled, she hummed softly to herself. Her heart felt light again. By evening, Zainab was dressed simply. She did not wear anything flashy. She wanted the surprise to feel natural, not planned. She packed the food carefully and picked up her handbag. Before leaving, she stood by the door and looked around her room. Soon, she whispered, "This will not be my home alone anymore." She locked the door and walked out. The drive to the hotel was quiet. Traffic was light. The sky was dark blue, and streetlights shone softly on the road. Zainab turned on the radio but did not listen to the song playing. Her thoughts were elsewhere. She imagined Kunle opening the door. "Zainab, what are you doing here?" he would ask. She would laugh and say, "I missed you." When she arrived at the hotel, she parked her car and stepped out. The building was tall and bright. People walked in and out, laughing, talking, living their own lives. Zainab walked to the front desk. "Good evening," she said politely. "Good evening, madam," the receptionist replied. "How may I help you?" "I am here to see Kunle Ade," Zainab said. "Room number 508. The receptionist checked the computer and nodded. "Yes, he is checked in." Zainab smiled. "Thank you." She walked toward the elevator, her heart beating faster with excitement. As the elevator doors closed, she adjusted the food pack in her hand. "Don't spill," she whispered to herself. The elevator stopped at the 5th floor. The doors opened quietly. The hallway was long and calm, with soft lights on the walls. Zainab walked slowly, counting the room numbers as she passed them. Her smile was still there. Her steps slowed. She stopped in front of the door. She raised her hand to knock. That was when she heard laughter. Zainab froze. It was Kunle's laughter. Her hand stayed in the air. She smiled at first. "He is watching something funny," she thought. Then she heard another sound, a woman's laugh. Zainab's smile slowly faded. She leaned closer to the door without touching it. Her heart began to beat louder, like it was trying to warn her. Inside the room, Kunle spoke. "Stop it," he said, laughing. "Someone might hear us." A woman replied, her voice low and playful. "Let them hear." Zainab's breath caught in her throat. She knew that voice, but her mind refused to accept it. She told herself she was mistaken, that she was tired, that fear was playing tricks on her. She leaned closer. Then she heard kissing sounds. Zainab's fingers trembled. She took one step back, then another. Her heart began to pound hard against her chest. Inside the room, Kunle laughed again. "Imagine if Zainab sees this," he said jokingly. The woman laughed louder. "She won't," the woman replied. "She trusts you too much." Zainab felt like the floor moved under her feet. Her hand dropped slowly to her side. She stood there, outside the door, unable to move, unable to breathe properly, as the sounds from inside the room continued. And that was where Zainab stood, frozen, outside the door. Zainab stood outside the hotel room like her feet were glued to the floor. The long hallway suddenly felt too quiet, yet too loud at the same time. The soft light on the wall blurred in her eyes as her heart beat hard in her chest. Her ears were sharp now, catching every sound coming from behind the door. Inside the room, someone laughed again. Zainab swallowed. She knew that laugh. It was Kunle's laugh. The same laugh he used when he was teasing her. The same laugh he used when he said she worried too much. Hearing it now made her chest feel tight. She took a slow step closer to the door. Her hand touched the food pack she was holding. The warmth from it felt strange, like it did not belong to her anymore. She held it tighter, as if holding it could help her stay standing. Inside the room, Kunle spoke again. "Ah, you are trouble," he said, his voice playful. Zainab's lips parted slightly. Trouble. That was the word Kunle used for her when she refused to let things slide. When she asked questions. When she wanted honesty. But the tone in his voice now was different. Soft. Happy. Free. A woman answered him. "Me? Trouble?" The woman said, laughing. "You are the one who couldn't wait." Zainab's heart skipped. The voice was close. Clear. No longer something she could explain away. Her head shook slowly. "No," she whispered under her breath. No, no, no. She leaned closer to the door, her ear almost touching the wood. Her breath came out in small, shaky bursts. Inside the room, Kunle laughed again. You know we shouldn't be doing this here, he said. The woman replied, Relax. This place is safe. Safe. The word hit Zainab hard. Safe enough to betray her. Safe enough to lie. Safe enough to laugh. Her fingers curled into her palm. Kunle's voice dropped lower. I just don't want any drama now. The wedding is close. The woman scoffed softly. Drama? From who? Kunle paused, then said her name. From Zainab. Hearing her name spoken like that felt like a slap. Zainab's knees felt weak. Inside the room, the woman laughed again, louder this time. Please, the woman said. She won't suspect a thing. She trusts you too much. Zainab's eyes filled with tears, but none fell. She knew that voice. She had heard it almost every day for as long as she could remember. That voice had called her sister. That voice had cried on her shoulder. That voice had promised to stand by her on her wedding day. The voice belonged to Said. Zainab covered her mouth with her free hand. Her body shook slightly as her mind tried to catch up with what her ears were hearing. Inside the room, Kunle laughed again, softer now. Sometimes I feel bad, he said. Sade replied quickly. Why? Kunle sighed. She really loves me. Sade answered without pause. That's not your fault. Zainab felt something break inside her. The hallway spun for a second. She leaned against the wall to steady herself. Her eyes stared at the door, as if it might open on its own and explain everything. Inside the room, Kunle said, After the wedding, things will calm down. Said's voice dropped low. After the wedding, everything will be easier. Zainab's heart pounded so hard she thought it might be heard through the door. She felt cold all over, even though the hallway was warm. Her fingers were numb. Her chest felt heavy, like something was sitting on it. She wanted to knock. She wanted to scream. She wanted to open the door and ask them why. But her body refused to move. Inside the room, there was a sound that made her stomach turn. Kissing. Slow, close, clear. Zainab shut her eyes. Tears finally rolled down her cheeks, silent and hot. She bit her lip to stop herself from making any sound. The food pack slipped slightly in her hand. She adjusted it, then realized how foolish she looked standing there with a surprise meal meant for a man who was kissing her best friend. She took a small step back. Her mind raced. This could not be happening. Not Kunle, not Sade, not both of them. She pressed her back against the wall and slid down until she was sitting on the floor. The cold tiles touched her legs, grounding her for a moment. Inside the room, Kunle spoke again. We need to be careful, he said. If she ever finds out... Said interrupted him. She won't. Zainab sees what she wants to see. Zainab's chest tightened. Sade continued. She believes people are good. She believes love is enough. Kunle laughed softly. That's one of the things I like about her. Zainab's hands shook. Like. Not love. Like. She hugged her knees close to her chest. Her mind replayed moments from the past. Times Said had insisted on helping Kunle surprise her. Times Said had defended Kunle during small arguments. Times Said had said, You are lucky to have him. Now, every memory felt dirty. Inside the room, Kunle sighed. I just want peace till the wedding is over. Sade replied gently, then stop worrying. Enjoy the moment. Zainab opened her eyes slowly. Enjoy the moment. She looked at her phone, still in her hand. The screen was dark. She stared at it as if it was the only thing keeping her from falling apart. Her heart beat faster. A thought came into her mind, clear, sharp. She needed proof. Not for anyone else. For herself. Because part of her still wanted to believe this was a bad dream. That she would wake up and laugh about it later. Inside the room, there was movement. The bed creaked softly. Zainab's throat tightened. She imagined them together. She imagined Said's hands on Kunle. Kunle's arms around Sade. The same arms that had held her and promised forever. Her chest hurt. She wiped her tears quickly with the back of her hand. Her breathing was uneven, but she forced herself to calm down. Focus, she whispered. She lifted her phone. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Inside the room, Kunle spoke again, closer to the door now. "You should leave soon," he said. "It's getting late." Sade laughed softly. "You are already chasing me away?" Kunle replied, "You know it's safer that way." Zainab's hand shook harder. Safer. Everything was about being safe. Safe lies. Safe betrayal. Safe smiles. She pressed her lips together and tapped her phone screen. The camera app opened. Her hands trembled so much she almost dropped the phone. Inside the room, Sade spoke again. "Tomorrow, I'll be with her all day," she said. "Dress fitting. Last checks. She won't suspect anything." Kunle chuckled. "You are good at this," Sade replied. "Proud, I know." Zainab's stomach twisted. Good at lying. Good at smiling. Good at betrayal. She lifted her phone closer to the door. The sound of their voices was clear now, captured by the small device in her shaking hands. Her thumb hovered over the record button. Inside the room, Kunle said something that made her freeze completely. "She really thinks you are like a sister to her." Sade laughed. "She tells me everything." Zainab's breath caught. Everything. Her secrets. Her fears. Her dreams. Her love. Her thumb pressed down. The red dot appeared on her screen. The recording had started. Zainab held the phone tight, her whole body shaking as she captured every word, every laugh, every sound coming from behind the door. She did not cry anymore. Her face went still. Her eyes hardened. She stayed there, outside the room, listening, recording, and letting the truth sink deep into her heart. And that was how Zainab stood. Quiet. Broken. Recording everything. Zainab stood outside the hotel room long after the voices inside went quiet. Her phone was still in her hand. The red dot was still there, blinking softly, showing that it was still recording. She stared at the screen like she did not know what it meant. Inside the room, there was movement. A chair scraped the floor. Someone laughed again, lower this time, closer to the door. Zainab's heart jumped. She quickly stopped the recording. The hallway suddenly felt too small, too tight, like the walls were closing in on her. She pushed herself up from the floor slowly, her legs shaking as she stood. Her head was heavy, but her mind was clear. If she stayed one more second, she knew she would break. She picked up the food pack that had slipped to the floor. The food inside was cold now. She looked at it for a moment, then laughed quietly to herself. The laugh did not sound like her own. "So this was the surprise," she whispered. She turned and walked down the hallway. Each step felt strange, like she was walking in someone else's body. Her feet moved, but she did not feel them. Her heart beat fast, but her face stayed calm. When she reached the elevator, she pressed the button and waited. The silence felt loud. Every small sound made her jump. The elevator doors opened. Zainab stepped inside and leaned against the wall. As the doors closed, she let out a breath she did not know she was holding. The ride down felt longer than the ride up. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She looked at the screen. Kunle. Her stomach twisted. She did not answer. The elevator stopped at the ground floor. The doors opened, and voices filled the space. People talking, people laughing, people living normal lives. Zainab walked out like she belonged there, like nothing had happened. Outside, the night air hit her face. She took a deep breath. It felt cold and sharp in her chest. She walked to her car and opened the door. As soon as she sat down, her hands began to shake. She placed the food pack on the passenger seat and stared straight ahead. For a moment, she thought she might cry. But no tears came. She started the car and drove out of the hotel parking lot slowly. The road ahead looked long and empty. Her phone buzzed again. Kunle. She ignored it. Then another message came in. "Where are you? I miss you." Zainab let out a small breath that sounded like a laugh. "Miss you?" She did not reply. She drove through the quiet streets, streetlights passing one after the other. Her mind replayed everything she had heard, every word, every laugh, every kiss. She tightened her grip on the steering wheel. "How long?" she whispered to herself. "How long has this been going on?" Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Sade. Zainab's eyes flicked to the screen, then back to the road. She did not answer. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a message. Z, are you okay? You've been quiet. Zainab swallowed hard. Z. That was what Sade called her. She shook her head slowly and placed the phone face down on the seat. She drove the rest of the way home in silence. When she finally parked outside her house, she sat in the car for a long time without moving. The engine was off. The night was quiet. Her chest felt heavy, like she was carrying something too big inside her. She picked up her phone and opened the recording. Her finger hovered over the play button. Do you really want to hear this again? She asked herself. Her finger pressed down. Kunle's voice filled the car. Clear. Close. Real. Zainab shut her eyes. Sade's voice followed. Familiar. Warm. Cruel. Her hands clenched as she listened to everything again. The jokes, the mocking, the way they spoke about her like she was not even real. When the recording ended, the car was quiet again. Zainab opened her eyes slowly. That was when the tears came. They rolled down her cheeks without sound. She did not sob, she did not shake. She just cried quietly, staring at nothing. After a while, she wiped her face and opened the car door. She stepped out and walked into the house. Inside, the lights were off. The house smelled familiar, safe. She locked the door behind her and leaned against it. Her knees gave way, and she slid down until she was sitting on the floor, her back against the door. This time, the sobs came. She covered her mouth with her hand as her body shook. The pain she had held back poured out. Her chest hurt. Her throat burned. She cried for the love she thought she had. She cried for the trust she gave freely. She cried for the wedding that now felt like a lie. After a long time, the crying slowed. Zainab wiped her face and stood up slowly. She walked into her bedroom and sat on the bed. Her phone was still in her hand. Messages were waiting. Kunle had sent several. Why aren't you replying? Are you asleep? Please call me. Sade had sent messages too. Z, did I upset you? Please talk to me. Zainab stared at the screen. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. She wanted to ask why. She wanted to scream. She wanted to tell them she knew everything. But something inside her stopped her. A calm, steady voice in her mind said, "Not yet." She took a deep breath and typed a short reply to Kunle. "I'm tired. Talk tomorrow." She sent it. Almost immediately, he replied, "Okay, my love. Rest well." Zainab stared at the words. "My love." She placed the phone down slowly. Her eyes moved to the mirror across the room. She stood up and walked toward it. The woman staring back at her looked the same, but something was different. Her eyes looked older, stronger, harder. She leaned closer to the mirror. "You will not see my tears," she said quietly. "Not yet." She picked up her phone again and opened the recording app. She saved the audio carefully. Then she sent a copy to her email. She saved another copy to a cloud drive. Her hands were steady now. When she was done, she placed the phone on the bed and lay down beside it. Sleep did not come easily. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Kunle's smile. She heard Sade's laugh. She heard her own name spoken without care. At some point, morning light crept into the room. Zainab opened her eyes and stared at the ceiling. She felt empty, but her mind was clear. She sat up and reached for her phone. More messages. Kunle. Said. She read none of them. She stood up, walked into the bathroom, and washed her face. The cold water woke her up fully. She looked at herself in the mirror again. "Today," she whispered, "you will act normal." She dressed slowly and neatly. She tied her scarf the same way she always did. She picked up her bag and her phone. Before leaving the room, she paused. She looked back at the bed, at the place where she had cried all night. She took a deep breath. "No one will know," she said. "Not yet." Zainab locked her door and stepped outside. The sun was up, the world was moving, and Zainab was walking forward, carrying a secret that would change everything. The next day moved like a normal day. At least, that was how it looked from the outside. Zainab woke up early. She washed her face, prayed quietly, and dressed like nothing had happened the night before. If anyone looked at her, they would see a calm bride to be getting ready for her wedding. But inside her chest, everything felt different. Her phone rang as she was tying her scarf. Said. Zainab stared at the screen for a few seconds before answering. "Good morning, Z," Sadeh said brightly. "You sound busy already." Zainab forced a smile into her voice. "Good morning. I'm just getting ready." "Perfect," Said replied. "I'm outside your place. We need to go for the dress fitting." Zainab's hand tightened around the phone. "Okay," she said calmly. "I'll be out in a minute." She ended the call and stood still for a moment. Her heart beat slowly, but steady. "This is it," she whispered to herself. "Smile." When she stepped outside, Sadeh was already waiting by the car. She looked happy, dressed well, full of energy. The same Sadeh who had laughed behind a hotel door the night before. "Look at my bride," Sadeh said, pulling Zainab into a hug. "You are glowing." Zainab hugged her back. The hug felt strange. Sadeh smelled the same, felt the same, but everything else had changed. "Are you okay?" Said asked as they pulled apart. "You were quiet yesterday." Zainab nodded. "I was tired." Sadeh laughed. "This wedding stress is something else." They got into the car. As Said drove, she talked non-stop about the wedding, about chairs, about colors, about guests who complained. Zainab nodded at the right times. She smiled when needed. She asked questions like everything was fine. But she watched Sadeh closely. She noticed how easy it was for her to lie, how relaxed her face was, how free her laughter sounded. At the dress shop, the women welcomed Zainab with excitement. "The bride is here," one of them said. "Come and see how beautiful you look." Zainab stepped into the fitting room and changed into her wedding dress. As she came out, everyone gasped. "Wow," Said said. "Kunle will faint." Zainab looked at herself in the mirror. The dress fit her perfectly. For a second, her chest tightened. This was supposed to be a happy moment, she thought. She turned slowly, letting the women adjust the dress. Sadeh stood close, fixing a loose strap. "You see," Said said softly, "everything is coming together." Zainab met her eyes in the mirror. "Yes," she replied. "Everything." After the fitting, they sat down to rest. Zainab's phone buzzed. Kunle. She glanced at the screen, then answered. "Hello," she said. "Hey," Kunle replied. His voice sounded warm. "How are you?" "I'm fine," Zainab said. "At the dress fitting." "Oh," Kunle laughed. "I wish I could see you." Zainab smiled faintly. "You'll see me soon." "True," he said. "I miss you." "Miss you." Zainab swallowed. "I miss you too," she replied. They talked for a few minutes. Kunle asked about the dress. Zainab answered carefully, giving away nothing. When the call ended, she placed the phone down gently. Sadeh leaned closer. "He sounds excited." "Yes," Zainab said. "Very excited." The rest of the day moved in small scenes. They checked decorations. They talked to the caterer. They answered calls from family members. Everywhere they went, people smiled at Zainab and wished her well. "You are lucky," one woman said. "Your husband-to-be is a good man." Zainab smiled and nodded. Inside, her heart stayed quiet. Later in the afternoon, Sadeh followed Zainab home. "I'll stay with you tonight," Said said. "We can talk, laugh, relax." Zainab paused for a second, then nodded. "Okay." Inside the house, Sadeh kicked off her shoes and sat on the couch like she owned the place. "You should rest," she said. "Tomorrow will be busy." Zainab went into the kitchen and brought out water. As she handed a glass to Said, their fingers brushed. Zainab felt a small chill. Sadeh said suddenly, "You trust me, right?" Zainab looked at her. The question hung in the air. "Yes," Zainab replied calmly. "Of course." Sadeh smiled, relieved. "Good." They talked about old memories, about school days, about silly fights they had laughed about later. Sadeh laughed easily. Zainab laughed too, but her laughter was careful. At some point, Said's phone rang. She stood up quickly. "I need to take this." She walked a little distance away and lowered her voice. Zainab watched her. She did not strain to hear. She did not move. She already knew enough. When Said returned, Her face was calm again. "Everything okay?" Zainab asked. "Yes," Sadeh said. "Just someone checking on me." That night, after Sadeh fell asleep, Zainab lay awake on her bed. She picked up her phone and opened the recording again. She listened to it quietly through her earphones. Every word still hurt. She saved the file again. Then she sent it to another email, just in case. "You won't disappear," she whispered to the recording. "I won't let you." The next morning came quickly. The house was full of movement. Family members arrived. Friends came to help. Everyone talked at once. Sadeh moved around, giving orders, smiling, laughing. Zainab moved with her, calm and quiet. At some point, Kunle called. "Hey," he said. "I'll see you later today." "Okay," Zainab replied. "I'm excited," he said. "Tomorrow is the big day." Zainab closed her eyes for a second. "Yes," she said softly. "Tomorrow." When the call ended, Zainab stood still in the middle of the room. Around her, people laughed and talked. No one noticed the way her fingers tightened around her phone. No one noticed the look in her eyes. Tomorrow was the big day, and Zainab was ready. The night before the wedding came quietly. There was no loud storm, no strange sign in the sky, just the normal sound of the evening settling in, like every other night before it. But for Zainab, nothing felt normal anymore. The house was full earlier in the day. Family members came and went. Friends laughed, talked, and made jokes about tomorrow. Food was cooked. Bags were packed. Everything looked like a happy home preparing for a wedding. Now, the house was calm. Most people had gone home. A few family members were asleep in different rooms. The lights in the living room were dim. The air felt still. Zainab sat on her bed with her legs folded under her. Her phone was in her hand, but the screen was off. She stared at the wall, listening to the quiet. Her heart was steady, too steady. She stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the street was quiet. A few cars passed, their headlights sweeping across the road. Somewhere far away, a dog barked. Tomorrow. The word sat heavy in her chest. She turned back into the room and sat down again. Slowly, she opened her phone and scrolled through her messages. Kunle had sent several texts. "I can't sleep. I keep thinking about tomorrow. Are you awake?" Zainab read them without replying. Then her phone buzzed again. A call. Kunle. She took a deep breath before answering. "Hello," she said. "Zainab," Kunle said softly. "I just wanted to hear your voice." Her fingers tightened around the phone. "You sound tired," she replied. "I am," he said. "But it's a good tired." "I'm nervous too." Zainab leaned back against the headboard. "Nervous about what?" she asked. Kunle laughed lightly. "About being a husband. About getting things right." Zainab closed her eyes. "Kunle," she said calmly, "do you think honesty matters in a marriage?" There was a short pause on the line. "Of course," Kunle replied. "Why are you asking?" "No reason," Zainab said. "I was just thinking." "Well," Kunle continued, "you know me. I hate lies." Zainab felt a sharp pain in her chest, but her voice stayed steady. "I know," she said. "Good night, Kunle." "Good night, my love," he replied. "I'll see you tomorrow." The call ended. Zainab placed the phone beside her and stared at it. "My love." She stood up suddenly and walked into the bathroom. She turned on the tap and splashed water on her face. She looked up at the mirror. The woman staring back at her looked calm. Too calm. "You have one night," Zainab whispered to herself. "Just one night." She returned to her room and sat on the bed again. This time, she opened her phone and played the recording. Kunle's voice filled the room. Then Said's. Zainab listened without flinching. When it ended, she did not cry. She picked up her wedding purse from the chair and opened it. Inside were small things. Lip balm, tissue, her phone charger. She placed her phone inside the purse and closed it. "This is where you'll stay tomorrow," she whispered. A soft knock came on her door. Said's voice called gently. "Are you awake?" Zainab's breath slowed. "Yes," she replied. "Come in." The door opened, and Sadeh stepped in. She wore pajamas and had her hair tied back. She looked relaxed, like someone with no worries in the world. "Can you believe it's tomorrow?" Sade said, sitting on the bed. "I feel like crying." Zainab smiled faintly. "You cry for everything." Sade laughed. "True." There was a small silence. Sade leaned closer. "Are you okay?" Zainab nodded. "Why wouldn't I be?" "You've just been quiet," Sade said. "I know you. When you go quiet like this, something is on your mind." Zainab looked at her. For a moment, she almost asked, "Why did you do it? Why him? Why me?" But she did not. "I'm just tired," Zainab said. "Tomorrow is a big day." Sade reached for her hand and squeezed it. "I'm here for you," she said. "Always." Zainab felt something twist inside her. "I know," she replied softly. Sade stood up. "Try to sleep. We need you fresh tomorrow." "Okay," Zainab said. As Sade reached the door, she turned back. She said, smiling, "Everything will be perfect." The door closed. Zainab sat still for a long time after that. Everything will be perfect. She lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Sleep did not come. Her mind stayed awake, clear and sharp. She thought about the first day she met Kunle, how he smiled, how he held her hand, how she believed him. She thought about Sade, about growing up together, about secrets shared late at night. How did it come to this? She whispered. At some point, her phone buzzed again. A message from Sade. "Good night, my bride." Zainab stared at the screen. She typed back slowly, "Good night." She placed the phone down and closed her eyes. Time passed. The house stayed quiet. Then, slowly, Zainab sat up. She reached for her wedding purse and opened it again. She checked her phone inside. She checked the recording. She made sure everything was still there. Her heart beat slow and steady. "I will not rush," she whispered. "I will not scream. I will not beg." She lay back down. Outside, the night grew deeper. The morning would come soon. And with it, the day everything would change. Morning came early. Zainab did not need an alarm. Her eyes opened on their own, like her body already knew what day it was. Light came through the window slowly, touching the walls, touching the floor, touching the life she was about to walk into. Today was the wedding day. She sat up in bed and took a deep breath. Her heart beat steady. Not fast, not slow, just steady. Around the house, people were already awake. She could hear movement. Soft voices, footsteps, the sound of water running, plates clinking. Everything sounded normal. Zainab stood up and walked into the bathroom. She washed her face and looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes met her own reflection, calm and clear. "You're ready," she whispered. She stepped out and the room filled quickly. Women came in with smiles and excitement. "Good morning, bride. Today is your day. You look beautiful already." Zainab smiled and greeted everyone politely. She sat down as they began to work on her hair. Someone touched up her face. Someone adjusted her dress. She stayed quiet, listening to their voices float around her. "Kunle is lucky. You chose well. God bless this union." Zainab nodded and smiled when expected. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it. "Kunle." She picked it up and answered. "Good morning," she said. "Good morning, my wife," Kunle replied, laughing softly. Zainab's lips curved into a small smile. "You sound happy," she said. "I am," he replied. "I can't believe today is finally here." "Yes," Zainab said. "It's here. Are you ready?" Kunle asked. Zainab looked at her reflection in the mirror. "Yes," she replied calmly. "I'm ready." They ended the call. Minutes later, Sade entered the room. "There she is," Sade said loudly. "My bride." She walked over and hugged Zainab carefully so as not to ruin the dress. "You look perfect," Sade said. "Everything is going well." Zainab met her eyes. "Yes," she said. "Everything is going well." The women around them laughed and chatted. Sade stayed close, helping where she could, fixing small things, giving instructions. Zainab watched her move. The same hands that held the bouquet now. The same smile. The same voice. No one else noticed anything wrong. Soon, it was time. Music started playing outside. Guests filled the hall. Cars arrived one after another. Laughter echoed through the air. Zainab stood behind the door, holding her bouquet. Her wedding purse hung gently on her arm. Inside it, her phone rested quietly. Sade stood beside her. "Are you nervous?" Said asked softly. Zainab shook her head. "No." Said smiled. "You're strong." Zainab said nothing. The doors opened slowly. Music filled the hall. Zainab stepped forward. Every eye turned to her. She walked down the aisle slowly, her steps even and steady. People smiled. Some whispered. Some wiped tears from their eyes. She saw Kunle standing at the front. He looked handsome, confident, proud. When their eyes met, he smiled wide. Zainab smiled back. They stood facing each other. The officiant began to speak. "Today, we are gathered here to witness the joining of two hearts." Zainab listened carefully, her eyes steady on Kunle. His hand reached for hers. She let him hold it. His palm felt warm. The words continued. About love, about trust, about forever. Zainab's grip tightened slightly. She glanced to the side. Sade stood there, holding the bouquet, smiling proudly. The officiant continued speaking. "Marriage is built on honesty." Zainab felt her heart beat once, slow and strong. The officiant paused and looked around the hall. "Before we continue," he said, "does anyone have anything to say before this union is made?" The hall fell quiet. Zainab took a slow breath. This was the moment. She loosened her fingers from Kunle's hand gently. Kunle turned slightly, confused. "Zainab," he whispered. "What's wrong?" Zainab looked at him calmly. She turned to the officiant. "Yes," she said softly. "I do." A quiet murmur moved through the hall. Kunle's eyes widened. "What?" he asked quietly. Zainab stepped forward. "May I speak?" she asked the officiant. The officiant hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, my child." Said stiffened slightly beside her. Zainab reached for the microphone. The hall was silent. Every eye was on her. She held the microphone with steady hands and looked around the room. She saw family faces, friends, smiling guests who came to celebrate love. Then she looked back at Kunle. Then at Sade. Her voice came out calm and clear. "I love honesty," Zainab said. "And I believe everyone here deserves the truth." A gasp moved through the crowd. Kunle leaned closer. "Zainab, please," he whispered. "What are you doing?" Zainab raised her hand gently. "Just listen," she said. She reached into her wedding purse. Her fingers wrapped around her phone. Said's smile faded slightly. Zainab lifted the phone. "I didn't plan to do this," Zainab continued. "But sometimes, silence hurts more than truth." Kunle shook his head slowly. "Zainab, stop," he whispered. Zainab looked at him one last time. Then she pressed play. And the sound of the recording filled the hall. The hall stayed silent for one long second. Then Kunle's voice came out of the speakers. Laughing, clear, too clear. "Stop it," Kunle's voice said in the recording. "Someone might hear us." A woman laughed. "Let them hear." A low sound ran through the hall like wind. People shifted in their seats. Heads turned. Faces changed. Zainab stood still, holding the microphone in one hand and her phone in the other. On the altar, the real Kunle froze. His smile disappeared. His hand dropped from hers. The recording continued. "You know we shouldn't be doing this here," Kunle's voice said again. "Relax," the woman replied. "This place is safe." Some guests began to whisper. "What's going on? Is that Kunle's voice?" Zainab did not look away. Her eyes were on Kunle. His face went pale. Then came the part that made the room change completely. "Imagine if Zainab sees this," Kunle's voice said in the recording, laughing. The woman laughed too. "She won't," the woman said. "She trusts you too much." A sharp gasp came from the crowd. Zainab felt it in her chest, but her face stayed calm. Beside her, Said's body stiffened. Her fingers tightened around the bouquet. The recording kept playing. "Sometimes I feel bad," Kunle's voice said. "Why?" the woman asked. "She really loves me," the woman replied fast. "That's not your fault." The hall exploded in noise. No! Oh my God! What is this? Kunle stepped forward quickly. Zainab, please, he said, his voice shaking. Turn it off. Zainab raised her hand slightly. Just listen, she said calmly. The recording continued. After the wedding, things will calm down, Kunle's voice said. After the wedding, everything will be easier, the woman replied. Zainab finally turned her head. She looked straight at Said. Sade's face was white. Her lips trembled. The bouquet slipped from her hands and fell to the floor. The sound of it hitting the ground echoed louder than any scream. Someone in the crowd shouted, Said. Another voice followed. That's her voice. Kunle's knees buckled. He dropped to the floor. Zainab, he cried. Please. I can explain. The recording ended. The hall fell into a heavy silence. Zainab lowered her phone. She took a slow breath and lifted the microphone closer to her mouth. This, she said calmly, is the truth. Her voice did not shake. I came to surprise my fiancé in his hotel room, she continued. I came with food, with love, with trust. She paused and looked around. What I found was betrayal. Kunle shook his head, tears running down his face. It was a mistake, he said loudly. It meant nothing. Zainab looked at him. A mistake, she repeated. With my best friend. With my maid of honor. Murmurs filled the hall. Said dropped to her knees. Z, she cried. Please. I'm sorry. Zainab looked down at her. Don't call me that, she said softly. Sade sobbed. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said. It just did. Zainab nodded slowly. That's funny, she replied. Because you sounded very sure of yourself in that room. Sade tried to stand, but her legs gave way again. Kunle crawled closer. Zainab, he begged. I love you. I swear. Zainab looked at him. She remembered every message, every smile, every lie. You loved me, she said, but you didn't respect me. Kunle reached for her dress. She stepped back. The officiant stood frozen, not knowing what to do. Family members whispered among themselves. Kunle's mother covered her mouth with her hand. Said's mother cried openly. Zainab took one more step forward. I didn't come here today to shout, she said. I didn't come to fight. She looked at the guests. I came because I believe truth should not hide. She turned back to Kunle. You had a choice, she said. You chose to lie. Kunle shook his head again and again. I was confused, he said. I was scared. Zainab nodded. And I trusted you. She lifted her left hand slowly. The ring caught the light. She pulled it off her finger. A loud gasp ran through the hall. Kunle cried out. No. Please. Don't do this. Zainab held the ring up between her fingers. This ring, she said, was meant for honesty. She walked toward Kunle and dropped it gently on the floor in front of him. The small sound it made was final. She turned away. Said reached out weakly. Z, she whispered. Please. Zainab stopped walking and turned back one last time. You didn't just betray me, she said quietly. You erased yourself from my life. She looked around the hall. Thank you all for coming, she said. I'm sorry this was not the celebration you expected. She handed the microphone back to the officiant. Then she walked down the aisle alone. The music did not play. No one spoke. All eyes followed her as she walked away, calm and steady, leaving silence behind her. Zainab walked out of the wedding hall with slow, steady steps. No music followed her. No one clapped. No one spoke. The only sound was the soft echo of her heels on the floor as she passed the doors and stepped outside into the open air. The sun was bright. Too bright for a moment like this. She paused just outside the hall and took a deep breath. The air felt clean in her lungs. Her chest rose and fell, calm and steady, like she had been holding her breath for days and had only just remembered how to breathe again. Behind her, the hall was still in chaos. Inside, voices clashed. What just happened? Is it true? Did you hear the recording? Kunle's voice rose above the rest, broken and loud. Please, let me talk to her. Please. Someone held him back. Sade cried somewhere on the floor, her sobs sharp and messy. Her mother tried to pull her up, but Sade could not stand. She kept shaking her head, repeating the same words over and over. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But Zainab did not turn back. She walked toward the car waiting outside. The driver opened the door quickly, his face full of worry. Madam, he said softly. Are you okay? Zainab nodded. Yes, she replied. Please take me home. She got into the car and closed the door. As the car pulled away, she looked out the window. Guests stood in small groups outside the hall. Some stared at her with wide eyes. Some whispered. Some looked away. She did not wave. She did not bow her head. She sat upright, her hands folded in her lap. Her wedding dress spread around her like a memory she was already letting go of. Her phone buzzed. She looked down. Kunle. She did not answer. Then another message came. Zainab, please. Let me explain. She placed the phone face down on the seat beside her. The drive home felt shorter than usual. When the car stopped, Zainab stepped out slowly. The house looked the same, quiet, still. She walked inside. Family members rushed toward her. Zainab, my child, are you okay? She raised her hand gently. I'm fine, she said calmly. Please, I need a moment. They stepped back, unsure. Zainab walked into her room and closed the door. The silence wrapped around her like a blanket. She looked around the room. The bed, the mirror, the chair where her wedding purse rested. She walked over and sat down. For a moment, she felt nothing. Then the tears came. Not loud, not shaking, just quiet tears sliding down her face as she stared at the floor. She cried for the future she imagined. She cried for the love she gave freely. She cried for the friends she lost. When the tears stopped, she wiped her face slowly. She stood up and changed out of the wedding dress. She folded it carefully and placed it back in its bag. That chapter is closed, she whispered. A knock came at the door. Zainab, her mother's voice called softly. May I come in? Yes, Zainab replied. Her mother stepped in, her eyes red from crying. She pulled Zainab into a tight hug. My daughter, she said, her voice shaking. You were brave. Zainab rested her head on her mother's shoulder. I didn't plan to be, she said. I just couldn't lie. Her mother held her for a long moment, then stepped back. We are here, she said. Whatever you need. Thank you, Zainab replied. Later that evening, the house filled again. Family members came to check on her. Some spoke. Some just sat quietly. No one asked her to forgive. No one told her to reconsider. They had heard the truth. Outside, Kunle's family came too. His mother knelt before Zainab, crying. I raised him better than this, she said. Please forgive us. Zainab helped her stand. This is not about families, Zainab said gently. It's about choices. Kunle himself did not come inside. He waited outside, pacing. Finally, he called her. Zainab looked at her phone for a long time before answering. Hello, she said. Zainab, Kunle cried. Please let me see you. Zainab closed her eyes. There is nothing to see, she replied. We are done. I made a mistake, he said. I can change. Zainab shook her head slowly. A mistake is forgetting a date, she said. What you did was a decision. He went quiet. I loved you, he whispered. Zainab's voice stayed calm. Love without respect is not love, she said. Goodbye, Kunle. She ended the call. She blocked his number. She blocked Said's too. That night, the house finally grew quiet again. Zainab lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in days, her mind felt light. No secrets. No pretending. No waiting. The next morning, she woke up early. She opened her curtains and let the sun in. She washed her face and looked at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back looked tired, but strong. You did it, Zainab whispered. You chose yourself. Days passed. The story spread. People talked. Some praised her courage. Some shook their heads. Zainab did not listen. She focused on healing. She spent time with her family. She went for walks. She laughed slowly again. One afternoon, she sat in the living room, sipping tea. when her phone buzzed with a new message. An unknown number. "I don't deserve forgiveness," the message read. "But I want you to know I regret everything." Zainab stared at the message. She did not reply. She deleted it. That evening, she stepped outside and looked at the sky as the sun went down. The air felt calm. She felt calm. She smiled softly. "I didn't lose a husband," Zainab said quietly. "I escaped a lie." She turned and walked back inside. Her life was still hers, and she was whole.